How's it going? Okay, everyone, let's do a little bit of education about numerology with your truly, Dr. Freisen, your astronumerologist. So, of course, everyone who knows me knows that numerology is my passion. Of course, I got into numerology before I got into astrology, but again, it is how the universe works, how it's laid out. So, I want you to understand numerology in the transition from 0 to 9, and then from 10 through 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So let's relate this to life. Let's look at the numbers as it really is in terms of life. So life begins at 0, and 0 meaning that at the time you have a baby. So you have the baby forms internally, but yet the baby is developing, things are coming together, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, all those things, fingers are coming together. And the baby has all of the potential. The baby has so much potential. You don't know if the baby's going to be a girl, a boy, a doctor, a lawyer, a truck driver, a janitor. You don't know if the baby's going to love people, be friendly, be all of these things are forming. And as a young parent, you have all of the highest hope. So 0 represents all of the highest hope. It's additional potential. So whenever you see numbers with 0 behind them, it enhances or takes away. And I say take away in the sense of the lower vibration. Enhances, I say that in sense of the higher vibration. So if a person is 1 and 1 is a good leader who takes charge, who gets things done, that's enhances in the higher vibration. But if 1 is selfish, only does things for themselves, um, forces people to do things, become a dictator, that's where it subtracts, it takes away. That's the lower vibration. Okay. So the baby starts out at the 0 stage, right? And the baby's born, right? And then, of course, that's day 1. But how do we count babies' lives? We count them in years. Now, I know you new mothers, you count them in weeks, days, months. I get that. But for this purpose, let's use it in years. So a baby turns 1. 1 is what? It's the individual. It's about the self. The baby starts doing things. It's new, right? New starts. It's also the Aries in astrology, right? And it represents the head, right? This part of the body, this thing here. What does the baby start doing before they get to 1? They start doing things. They lift their heads. They try to sit up. They gain some posture. They look around. They're aware of surroundings. They're aware of the presence of the parents coming and going. And when something isn't aligned with them, they tell you, right? They yell, they cry, right? They scream, they make faces. 1 is all about the individual. And that baby in that first part of life is getting and becoming, learning and choosing. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that because I want my diaper changed. I want to eat, right? It's a very much an individual new start type energy. Now, we all love the baby on one side, but when the baby's just constantly crying because the mama won't come back in the room or daddy won't come back in the room, we think the baby's doing too much, right? But that's the lower vibration, right? When the baby's crying to say, "Oh, I am hungry," we're like, "Yes, baby's talking to me, and the baby and I were communicating." But then the mama walks out the room, the baby starts crying. You're like, "Wait a minute, baby's spoiled." Some of you say that, right? Different things, but it's still new energy. So in numerology, it's new energy. So let's put the 1 with the 10. All right. So the 1 and the 10 have the 1 energy, leadership, changes, new beginning, life, right? Course correction on some things. And then also selfish, big ego, right? Dictatorship, okay? Not able to get along with people, those other sides of it. When a child becomes 10, remember 10 has the zero, one and the zero. So during this 10, that decade of life, what is the focus? What is the focus for your 10-year-old, your 11-year-old, your 12-year-old, your 13-year-old? The self. And the 10s, the 10 decade, that first decade, it becomes more of a selfish decade. The child is going through an identity awakening of sorts. The child is learning who they are. And in life, that's what happens with you as an individual. You're figuring out more of yourself. But now you have all these fingers and toes and teeth and different things, and you can walk and talk and all that stuff. You know, you can do whatever ability you have the ability to do. If you can't walk, you still you know what your abilities are or some sense. And you're figuring out your place in the world as far as, friendships and all of those things, discovering. So 10 is a discovery energy. Now, 10 is kind of like freedom on some things, right? So it's like a culmination of things. You were 0 through 9, and all of a sudden you're 10. Oh, so 10 in traditional tarot is a number that says you've reached a height, right? It's a celebration. It's like the goal, right? I've been trying to get to this place. Bam, I finally got to 10. Yay, I won, right? That's what 10 represents. So that energy becomes individual, right? Moving along. They're relying on themselves, not necessarily relying on their parents. The 10 energy does that. Okay. So in numerology, we're looking at numbers in terms of the baby. This was the first one, the number 1 and the number 10. We're going to continue on in the next video with the number 2. All right. Take care.